I love the Irish landscape. I love the wildness of it, the shapes, the way the lines meander with each other and things like that, you know. And I suppose when I'm painting it, what I'm trying to do is paint or look at the things that are overlooked and kind of celebrate those sort of things, really. It could be maybe the way the grass grows in the middle of a country lane. You know, people just maybe take that for granted. And I'm trying to make a feature of it. It might be even maybe a cottage peeking over the brow of a hill. So it brings elements of humour, you know, looking over, and you know, those are the sort of things that kind of inspire me and I'm trying to capture really in my work, you know. I guess it's important to me when I'm producing a painting to get a strong composition, to have good colours, shapes, and to create that movement in the painting, and really that for me creates a painting that will hopefully stand the test of time. I've always loved bright colour. I think when people see bright colours, it makes them happy. Certainly when I use bright colours, the process of painting with them, it certainly is uplifting for me. And I have people coming into me all the time and saying, oh my god, the colour, and they love that. So I love that effect. It's funny, but where I'm from, Wales, I've noticed a lot of the artists there, they tend to use these dark, heavy colours, which to me are very serious, you know. Maybe it's their response to that landscape, but here I'm aware of the intense light. I love that, but I'm also aware that the light can change very quickly. So it comes down to me just liking a very colourful palette, really. I suppose part of the playfulness with my work involves maybe playing with perspective, you know, distorting the actual view that you have. It's like, I remember I did a street scene in Dorky, and you've actually got a corner where the bar is, and I've actually made that into one long street scene, which is kind of almost like an impossible view. But it's those sort of things I like to do in a painting, you know, doing things that you can't do, say, in photography or whatever, but you can actually make this piece come together as one piece as opposed to different views. So there's elements of distortion there that I like to play with. I suppose, like, even my painting of the main street of Scannell there, you have a really long street, whereas if you're driving down it, you couldn't possibly take that view in. So in effect what I've done is I've created that view as one piece. So I think people are surprised when they see the street together, to see it all stitched, and it's nice to see it as one image, and you can't experience that by driving down it. So it's nice to be able to pass over little sort of images like that. I guess some of my work goes into a slightly abstract sort of direction, like even thinking of some of the cliff paintings I've done. I'm picking out shapes there, and they almost go in a completely unrepresentational sort of direction, really. I suppose what I don't want is for my work to become too formulated. If it became too formulated, it'd become a little bit more mechanical, and I would enjoy that the work become very stale. I try to bring out the best in it. I might be looking at a streetscape, say, and old shabby buildings, but I'll use artistic license maybe to brighten those up, to clean them up, to make them happy. I don't know if it's a reflection on me or what, but just like what I like doing, I like to create movement and to make the eye wander around the painting as well. And it was fostered into that you very much need to have a recognisable style, so I worked very hard at producing a style that's recognisably my own. It's funny because the dark lines, kind of my lecturers kind of frowned upon me using these dark lines to kind of emphasise. But I think I listened, but I didn't necessarily obey. I felt the dark lines were necessary because when you have strong colours next to each other, it helps define them even more, so it became important for that. But also for me, to create movement in the painting is important, and those kind of sweeping lines help do that. I suppose it's become more defined in that way because it's just the lines have got stronger. I was looking for shapes in the painting to help create that movement effect, and I ended up just starting to slash the lines further to break out of where they're supposed to stop, and so it then became a bit more abstract. And as you say, it's become a bit more like stained glass, really. It probably would lend itself on stained glass, but for now it's stuck in paintings anyway. Actually, there's nothing that was deliberately sought after. You know, where I live, a lot of my neighbours, they're farmers, and they have these old rickety tractors, and I'm kind of drawn to them in a sense. I find there's a lot of humour in them. I just find they're hobbling up and down the country lanes, and I just find that they've got their own kind of character in a way, and they're like old men, you know, rickety and clunky, and they look like they've been through the wars, and I just love that aspect about them. I'm not so keen on maybe these new modern ones that go quite fast, you know, that I don't feel they have as much character. But yeah, my neighbour, he's got an old red tractor, like a 1950s one. And I just love the look of them. They've really become a kind of theme of my work now. I'm being asked to paint various tractors in certain locations, and I'm having great fun doing them. An icon, really, isn't it, of rural life, country life, you know. It certainly looks in place in its surroundings, that's the way. So yeah, I definitely think so. What brought me here originally, I came over here when I was 16 on a surfing holiday with some friends, and we stayed down in Doonbeg, and we surfed a lot down there at Dugmore, and eventually we came up to Lahinch, where I now have my gallery, and it's a very different Lahinch to what it was then. I mean, now you have John McCarthy's surf school here, and there's a real surf industry, you know, and the place is buzzing all year round, especially weekends, and it's brought life to the place, which is great. But surfing was a very big part of my life, and obviously that's reflected in my paintings. I've done a fair few paintings now of the cliffs with Eileen's, and I suppose Eileen's is very inspiring because it's a world-class wave. It's got the respect of professional surfers all over the world, and I'm in awe of it, really, and that's why it's become part of my work. And I suppose the drama of it, that fits nicely with what I do, and the movement and the energy. I like to try and portray that in my work. By being sort of accessible to the public, it's great to get the feedback, reaction from people coming through the door. You know, they can see me working. They love that element, because normally when you go into a gallery you don't get to meet the artist, and I think they like to see maybe work in progress. And I suppose over the years I've got this gallery here in the Hinch, and I've opened one in Doolin, and it's great. So I'm just helping. That's helping me create a bit of a following by people being able to meet me, whereas most artists they can't meet. In my work, I'm really, as an artist here, absorbing what's around me, my environment, and I'm trying to reflect that in my paintings in my own individual way. I think it's very important when I set out to do a painting that it's not too formulated, that I haven't got the finished image in my head and I'm trying to achieve that. It's important that there's playfulness in the painting, and there is room to manoeuvre, so it becomes something different. Obviously, when I set out, I have an idea of the composition, but in terms of colour and what might happen in the painting, that's left open, and the playful element is very important. This isn't really a very naturalistic paint, it's still, I feel, important to, you know, use the rules that you should be playing by, like where you expect the light would be hitting. So it's got to be convincing in terms of, like, you know, the light's coming from this direction or that direction, so you have to think about how the light would hit, say, the hill there, and then obviously if the light's coming from that direction, where the shadows would play. Sort of dispersed like that, you know. Although it's playing with patterns and movement, it still has to be believable, I think. I suppose that's the part of the beauty of, I suppose, knowing my subject matter in terms of surfing as well. You'd know roughly that the wave would be coming back from here in sets and stuff like that. You're not just doing it blindly, you know.